One of Cameroon's opposition leader, Professor Maurice Kamto, whose candidacy was rejected by the Constitutional Council upon appeal, has finally spoken. Professor Maurice Kamto has explained the reason why he believed that the regime of President Paul Biya deliberately removed his name from the list and deliberately stopped him from participating because of fear that he will actually remove the regime when it comes to election. Professor Maurice Kamto explained the maneuver and also alleged that there were a lot of irregularities carried out by Cameroon's Ministry of Territorial Administration just to sabotage his campaign. He accused the Ministry of Territorial Administration of orchestrating an illegal act that actually made it impossible for him to be accepted. He said despite all the arguments they gave to ensure that their case is legal and transparent, to subject him to participate, that the Constitutional Council, which also he accused of being biased and not being fair and working in collaboration with the regime, did everything to make sure that he will not be on the ballot. Let me not talk too much. He actually spoke in English and he spoke in French, but I'll bring to you the English version of Professor Maurice Kamto.
6 July 2025, the Electoral Council of ELECAM rejected my candidacy for the presidential election, which had been duly submitted by Manidem. On 28 July, I lodged an appeal against this unfounded decision with the Constitutional Council. On 4th August, we presented this High Court with all the factual and legal arguments in favor of validating my candidacy, as well as the evidence establishing the imposture of the second candidacy attributed to Manidem. On 5th August, at the end of its deliberations, the Constitutional Council rejected my appeal for validation of my candidacy on the grounds that it was unfounded. The decision to exclude me from the 2025 presidential election was taken a long time ago by the CPDM regime. This regime never accepted the fact that we avoided the big political trap of the 2020 legislative and municipal elections by choosing the boycott. The regime wanted to destroy the CRM through these elections and never forgave us for escaping. From then on, the campaign to demonize the CRM and its national president was launched, and the decision was taken to prevent him by any means possible from taking part in the 2025 presidential election. It was with this in mind that the legislative and municipal elections scheduled for February 2025 were postponed until March 2026 in order to prevent the CRM from having any elected representatives and from being able to present its candidates in the presidential election next October. When it was discovered that the CRM had elected municipal representatives, the CPDM regime organized fake debates for several months on the nullity of the imperative mandate in order to show, in spite of this, that the CRM would not be able to present a candidate under its banner, and that if it tried to do so, it would be rejected and the authorities will ensure that there will be no protest whatsoever. What's more, we were told that the only option open to us was to have my candidacy put forward by one of the 18 political parties that has won seats in 2020 elections. I must repeat that nothing prevented the CRM from presenting a candidate for this presidential election, but we had to avoid giving the regime a pretext for rejecting a candidacy presented by the CRM, because rejecting the nullity of the imperative mandate had become a matter of life or death for this regime. The unexpected presentation of my candidacy under the Manidem banner came as a thinly veiled shock to those in power in Yaoundé. Taken by surprise, the regime in power rushed to create a new president of Manidem and his candidacy file, to artificially create what was called a plurality of investure. Cameroonians, my dear compatriots, I would like to extend my warmest thanks to the many people who have tirelessly shown me their patriotic and democratic support during this episode, which has just been resolved before the Constitutional Council on Tuesday, 5th August 2025. I would particularly like to thank the Honorable Jean-Michel Ninche, National Chairman of the FCC and the coordinator of the Political Alliance for Change, as well as the members of the Political Alliance for Change who decided to support my candidacy. In the same vein, I would like to thank the National President of MINAT, Mr. Anise George Ekane, for his remarkable patriotism and sense of history, his loyalty to the ideals on which his political commitment was founded, his courage and determination to see our country resume its nationalist march towards progress. This is also an opportunity for me to salute the exceptional commitment of all the leaders and activists of MINAT for their support for my candidacy. I would like to express my gratitude to the leaders and many militants of the CRM for their unfailing support, their unwavering commitment, and their remarkable courage in the face of the many trials imposed on them on a daily basis by a regime that has no inspiration and no vision for the country. My dear compatriots, I have told you again and again, I will not betray you. And I have not betrayed you. On the other hand, the Constitutional Council, the judiciary, ELECAM, the powers that be, through the Ministry of Territorial Administration in particular, which has been involved in all the wrong moves against us, have betrayed you without a second thought. The international community, notably the UN, which signed a secret agreement with ELECAM on 9th May 2025, supposedly to guarantee the transparency of the 2025 presidential election, has betrayed you. This international community, so quick to stand by the dictatorship that is crushing the Cameroonian people, did not feel concerned by the CPDM regime's political crime against our people. On the contrary, it has sat on the values it claims to promote and defend. My dear compatriots, as part of the preparations for my campaign for the presidential election next October, on 30 January 2025, I launched the fundraising campaign in accordance with the legislation in vigor. Following the rejection of my candidacy, I would like to inform the public that contributions to my campaign for the forthcoming elections are now closed. Despite the expenses already incurred in connection with this campaign, I hereby inform you that the contributions received in the bank accounts open for this purpose and in the various accounts with mobile operators will be reimbursed. Practical measures are being taken to this regard. Cameroonians, my dear compatriots, I'm on my feet and will remain at your side.